Well, surprise, surprise, Trump lost the Nobel Peace Prize to a Venezuelan woman named Maria Corina Machado, a lifelong diplomat and activist for democracy in Venezuela and a target of the Maduro regime, who's actually threatened her and her family so much she's had to go into hiding. She was given the Nobel Prize by the committee today. The White House says they clearly chose politics over peace. And the Nobel Committee signaled at a time when democracy seems to be backsliding globally that they're monitoring who's actually fighting for democracy and who's working against it. I wonder if Trumpelstiltskin is working for or against democracy with continuing to send National Guard troops into American cities led by Democrats, or, sending the National Guard now over to the I country to help with humanitarian aid as part of his peace deal. That sounds so very peaceful, doesn't it? Well, congratulations to Maria Corina Machado. I wish you all of the best for you and your family. Most of all, I wish you peace and safety.
It is so funny to watch the MAGA Republicans melt down over Donald Trump not winning the Nobel Peace Prize. The committee announced that they were giving the award to Maria Corina Machado for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela and her struggle to achieve a democracy. And that has sent some of the biggest names in MAGA politics over the edge. Laura Loomer said, "Imagine thinking a woman who cries nonstop about Maduro has done more for the world than Trump. What a joke." Megyn Kelly said Roger Ailes never even allowed anyone to submit for an award because he understood how meaningless they were. It's so funny that they're calling it meaningless, because if Trump would have won the award, they'd say it's the best thing ever. Stephen Chung, a senior advisor to Trump, said the Nobel Committee proved they place politics over peace. I don't know. Benny Johnson even cited Vladimir Putin to back up his argument, because Putin said that the award has lost all credibility. What? All day, the MAGA fans have been in a total spiral. And look, I'm going to be honest with you, I've enjoyed every second of it.
Hello and good morning. In today's episode of As the White Hood Turns, I'm going to give y'all 3 guesses as to who didn't win the Nobel Prize. The Nobel Peace Prize. That's right, y'all guessed it. Syphilitic Sid did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know why he thought he was... I can't even make this video with a straight face. I really can't. I want to, but I can't, because this bugger over here really thought somebody was going to give him the Nobel Peace Prize. I feel like they should give him the non-existent Nobel Peace Prize for the non-existent wars he ended. The fuck are we even talking about right now? But the lady who won, interestingly enough, called Syphilitic Sid a visionary. So, I had to do a deeper dive. I understand that, she's fighting for democracy and she's in hiding and all of those kind of things. I'm really still trying to figure out why she called him a visionary, other than you need somebody like him to come in and fuck everything up so that then you can rebuild a more democratic republic. Maybe that's what she meant, because the fuck. Also, did y'all hear he plans to give himself the Kennedy Center honor? He said he's going to honor himself. I want to be serious. I'm trying really hard to be serious. So I'm going to go collect myself and I'm going to come back later. Because, goodbye.
While everyone is celebrating the fact that Maria Machado won the Nobel Peace Prize over Donald Trump like it's some victory for us here on the left in the United States, I'd like to remind y'all that this woman has dedicated the Nobel Peace Prize that she just earned to Donald Trump. I dedicate this prize to the suffering people of Venezuela and to President Trump for his decisive support of our cause. And listen, you might think she's working towards a noble cause, and I may not disagree with you on that, but this is an insane thing to do. I don't care who she is. If you want to celebrate the win of Maria Machado today, then that's fine. Totally fine. I'm not going to judge you for that. But if you're celebrating her win because she beat Trump, you probably shouldn't be doing that because she's a big fan. Big fan. She's also a big fan of what we've been doing in the Caribbean to all those boats filled with Venezuelan civilians and Colombian civilians, which I don't know if she cares about them or not.
Oh, happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. The winner of the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize was just announced. And spoiler alert, it was not the stinky orange felon pedophile. No. It was this queen. It was Bukele, the dictator in Venezuela. It was his pro-democracy opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado. And I'm sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly. But yeah, she won. She won it. And I know Trump is seething. I know he is seething. Because his delusional ass really thought he was gonna win. He really thought his 7 wars that his 10 almost wars. Can't forget the almost wars that he stopped. He really was out here campaigning. I mean, he thought his 10 almost wars that he stopped would be enough. Spoiler alert, 10 almost fake wars that you fake stopped doesn't really hold a candle to fighting dictators like yourself. And I know that the 2 big contenders for receiving the Nobel Peace Prize this year were Donald Trump and Greta Thunberg. So honestly, I think it's even funnier that it not only went to a woman over him, but it went to a woman of color over him. Not that that's like inherently shocking. Like I never for a second thought he was actually going to receive this, but like it's funny. It's funny because I know y'all have heard that Trump today actually is going to get his 2nd annual visit. That makes it not never mind. They're trying to play it off as like, oh, it's just his regular annual visit, even though he just had that 6 months ago. This announcement sent him to the hospital. And as amusing and giddy as that makes me, will it keep him there? Right? Is it gonna be enough to keep him there? A little forever nap? I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment below. And please, while I have you, be sure to like, repost, share this good news, whether just to spread the hope and the positivity or in hopes that a Republican or Trump himself will see it and will be really mad. And maybe we'll send him even closer to that forever nap. But yeah, do all the things and follow me for more like this.
So, how loud do you think the crying's gonna get? I think that guy is gonna cry so fucking loud. I really do. He has been telling everybody, and his little puppets have been telling everybody, oh, he deserves the Nobel. Look what he's doing all around the world. Don't look at what he's doing in his own country while he's trying to make himself a king and while we're trying to give him plenary power. Don't look at that part. Just look at what he's doing all around the world. The woman who won is in hiding. She's been in hiding for about a year. She's the opposition leader in Venezuela, and she won for promoting democratic rights. And I listened to a video clip of the Nobel guy calling her up and saying, you know, you won. And she was so humble. She was like, you know, it's not just one person. It's a movement. It's all of the people. And I was just thinking that the man who's going to cry about how he didn't get it, I'm wondering, would he compliment his people for it? It's the person who's cosplaying as the FBI director, or it's the person who dressed up with a firearm and a little baseball hat and is pretending to be the Homeland Security person. Would he thank the insurance lawyer with no experience as a prosecutor for indicting his political enemies like Letitia James and James Comey? I don't think he'd thank anybody. I think this man would just be like, I deserve this so much. I deserve this so much more than anybody else deserves this. And I think that he cries super fucking loud today. And I think his puppets cry a little bit for him too. But, tell me if you disagree.
Donald Trump did not get the Nobel Prize this morning, and he and the White House are hopping mad, claiming it was a DEI hire because a Latino woman got the prize. She's the opposition leader in Venezuela, Maria Corina Machado, and they said she didn't deserve it, Trump did. Now let's remind you who gets the Nobel Peace Prize. The person who shall have done the most or the best work for fraternity between nations and the abolition or reduction of standing armies and the formation and spreading of peace congresses. Donald Trump, building up the military more, Department of War come to mind. Fraternity between nations? He turned on the entire world. They hate us now. He's also threatened war 8 or 10 times now. Greenland comes to mind. among other things. It was also declared war on us domestically. And peace? Maybe with Israel. We'll see with Gaza. Let me show you what Trump's White House is claiming about the award. Here's Trump's communication director, Stephen Chung, parroting North Korea. President Trump will continue making peace deals, ending wars, and saving lives. He has the heart of a humanitarian, and there will never be anyone like him who can move mountains with the sheer force of his will. The Nobel Committee proved they place politics over peace. First of all, really good idea to attack the Nobel Committee. I love that because good way to get the prize. By the way, it was too late for... We knew this was going to happen. It was too late for Trump to get the prize this year, especially for Gaza. They've got to have the nominations in by like February 1st. This Gaza thing happened in the last 2 days. It was too late. But we knew Trump was so dumb that he was going to go, I'm angry, I didn't get it. And now they're attacking the Nobel Committee. He had a chance next year. They've now attacked the committee. And then Trump's top advisor, Laura Loomer, said this. Imagine thinking a woman who cries nonstop about Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela has done more for the world than President Trump. What an absolute joke. Everyone knows President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. More affirmative action nonsense. So they're calling her a DEI hire. And of course, you know Trump's losing it because a Latino woman beat him. Now, why does Trump say he deserves the Nobel Prize? Because he claims, I've solved 8 or 9 wars. Millions of people would have died in India and Pakistan. No, they wouldn't. India and Pakistan had a skirmish for one day. One bombed one bombed the other. That was it. And India even Trump claimed credit for resolving it, and India goes, no. Millions would have died. Then there's the larger issue of, even if Trump did solve some wars, do you give the Nobel Prize to a racist, fascist, warmongering criminal? Do you? I mean, Trump is the worst president in American history. He's a criminal. He's an authoritarian. He's a fascist. He's trying to eliminate democracy in America. He has created animosity all over the world. He's declared war multiple times now already, right? He's blowing up people in the Caribbean illegally, committing war crimes. He attacked Iran. I'm all for going after Iran, but that was, you don't get a Nobel Peace Prize for declaring war on Iran. Do you really get the Nobel Peace Prize when you're a warmonger? Really? Not to mention he declared war at home. In a year, by the time they do the next award, we could no longer have democracy in this country. We could have full out, we've already got fascism, we could have a full out dictatorship in this country. He could already have called off the election at that point, because the election will be next year at this time. Gavin Newsom of California says he thinks it's getting called off. Final point here. You know who deserves the Nobel Prize? Gavin Newsom and Governor Pritzker. The resistance deserves the Nobel Prize. Just like in Venezuela, they picked the resistance to autocratic dictators to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Who should be nominated next year is every single one of you and every single one of us. And that will surely tick Trump off, but that is somebody who is meritorious of getting the Nobel Peace Prize. And we just may.
Well, another FAFO moment for the taxpayer in the US of A via the way of Cosplay Christie today. That's right. The girl whose face is in a fight with Phyllis, the puppy killer. Yes, the one that looks like she's been beat with a bad batch of Botox. Sure does love having different cocks through that 8-lane highway gap between her thighs on any given day, except for her husband, by the way. Anyway, Cosplay Christie thought it'd be a good idea to take your taxpayer money to provide private, heavily armed security for her heavily armed ICE crew. That's right, baby. She took taxpayer money to provide the heavily armed Gestapo with private security. And she used false claims to do this. She had zero proof, but she went before Congress and said that ICE agents across the US of A were being threatened with $10,000 bounties on their head the other day, and they needed more money for private security. Private contracted security for guys who are armed to the fucking teeth running our streets. But correct me if I'm wrong here, dear. Isn't the excuse why they need the military on American soil to protect ICE agents? That's right. That's right. They said that they needed to deploy the National Guard, the military, onto American soil to protect ICE agents, dear. And they're not being paid their overtime pay or their hazard pay because they're being recirculated every 29 days. But your taxpayer money is going to pay a private company to provide private security to heavily armed ICE agents, baby. Everybody's making money in the US of A today, except for the American people and their military, too. Their soldiers, at least. But the private contractors, baby, they are raking in our tax money. Spread this tea expeditiously. I'm tired of legacy news not telling the fucking truth about who these people be. Shove it in their face every single day. My videos are being suppressed, by the way. So share this bit of tea for me expeditiously. Thank you, baby, because I'm coming after you, Cosplay Christy, and all the bullshit you spew. All the treacherous things you do, I have clocked you. And so has the rest of the United States, by the way. This shit right here is not okay.
And because Trump's entire existence and the way he operates, he will get a bunch of money from a business or a person or a bank or a whatever and make promises to that person, bank, business, country about future deals that will make them a whole bunch of money. And then he'll renege on those deals. So he'll collect all the bribes and not come through with things. He won't renege on all of them because some of these deals are with people that put him in a more powerful position to perform more scams on more people. So he's in with that. So he knows what to manipulate and what's expendable and what's not. He knows from the lifelong con man that he is, dealing with certain people, there's a level of manipulation that he can successfully go to without blowing himself up. And that is something that he has spent his whole life navigating and learning through the court systems, through all of him getting sued and everything else. He's learning the patterns from his past. He's learning the guardrails of the court system on every level as he was coming up to where he currently is. And in that process of 4,800 times being sued before he even ran for president, that is a fact, look it up, a majority of them were for not paying people contracts, not, I don't like the teleprompter doesn't work, so I'm not going to pay those people. How many times have we heard that? Well, he's been using that excuse to get out of paying employees and contractors from the beginning, from the absolute beginning. That's actually what a lot of the firsthand experience that I have comes from is, knowing the skeletons in the closet long before The Apprentice or the internet. So this is the guy's pattern. This is what he does. This is what he's always done. We need to accept that. And only then can we thoroughly wrap our heads around the level of scams that he's pulling right now. And the fact that he can write laws to direct a United States sovereign fund, which sounds very much like, Saudi Arabian sovereign fund or whatever, and then direct it to be invested into crypto. And the paperwork of that executive order needing to, the sovereign fund is very similar to the bid processes in the red states that are now demanding that there's a Bible in every classroom and every student has a Bible and all that other stuff. And it just so happens there was a Bible that was printed that fits this very specific bid demand for each and every school. And that demand wouldn't have applied to any of the 2,700 Bible printers in the area that could have been up for the bid, because the bid said the Bible has to be in a very protected, like a leather-bound case, and has to actually be printed with the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all that other stuff. And anybody who knows anybody knows that, anyone who's owned a Bible knows that doesn't happen. So it's ironic that Donald Trump himself actually owned a product that can get 55,000 Bibles sold per county in every red state with that's $4.5 million per district going right into his pocket for Chinese printed sticky page Bibles that no one in the world would ever buy any other way, because even the Constitution only goes up to Article 11, which is kind of ironic because all the other articles have to do with getting rid of incompetent presidents and women's rights and voting rights and all this. Unimportant. It's just a coincidence, I'm sure. But good thing those Bibles were available for every single swing state, so our current president can sell them like the other 1,000 plus products that are currently available online during his administration. Nothing to do with the Emoluments Clause or Constitution, because that would be too American for the patriotic red-hatted ones.
Happy Friday. I hope everybody's doing well. It's October 10th, about 11:30 a.m. West Coast time. I woke up, I did a new thing this morning that I just had the idea for while I was outside with my dogs. I was scrolling through the news and I was just like, there's too much. There's just too much news. There was way too much for me to do like individual stories about all the things that I saw that were popping up in my feed. And that was at about 8:20 a.m. this morning. And so at 8:30, I went live on TikTok for 45 minutes and just went through all the news stories that I wanted to talk about in one video. I just called it like a Friday morning news wrap. And so my brother Falcon was able to download that video from TikTok, and we posted it on our YouTube page. You can find that by searching this in the search bar on YouTube. And so that video's up. It's about 45 minutes long. It was fun. It was a good video. I think it's a really good video. And it's a great news wrap up of what's going on today and yesterday. And then after that, one of my other projects that I had that I wanted to get to was I put up about a 20-minute long video. That one's uploading right now, just on Donald Trump and the Insurrection Act. And because it was reported earlier this week that Donald Trump is considering invoking the Insurrection Act to get around the Posse Comitatus Act, which makes it illegal for him to deploy U.S. military troops on U.S. soil to go against American citizens, American civilians. And so I did a bunch of research for that one. That video turned out extremely well, and that one will be live on my YouTube page here in the next few minutes. Again, you can find that page by searching this. And but you know, I also wanted to mention that this Russ Vought guy who wrote the chapter in Project 2025 about executive power and is now Donald Trump's Office of Management and Budget Director, he announced today, on Friday, October 10th, that he has begun mass firings of federal workers, which is that's been his wet dream since he's been a teenager. So that tells you everything you need to know about Russ Vought. That since he was a teenager, he dreamed of doing away with the executive branch of our government and the administrative state. That's what gave him, as my girlfriend Raven would refer to, that's what gave Russell Vought the smutty tingles in his nether regions. The thought of firing everybody who works in the executive branch and doing away with the administrative state. So he just tweeted, "The rifts have begun." Capital RIF, lowercase f. That stands for reduction in force. That means mass layoffs of federal employees. Anyway, please go follow me here. I'm going to start dedicating a lot more time to videos that I put up exclusively on our YouTube page as I transition from being a trial attorney for 27 years to being a full-time content creator. Over the next 3 months, I'm going to be shifting my focus very much away from TikTok and towards this page on YouTube. So go check it out. There should also be a link in the link tree in my bio. See you guys soon. Have a fun and safe weekend.